Will Goten and Trunks ever hit puberty? Will Goten ever stop looking like a 5-year-old? And will Farmer ever go back to his wife? In this video, I'm going to be addressing the Dragon Ball Z and Super timelines, straightening out their growths and trying to make sense of an age-old question. Pun intended. There are many timeline errors within the Dragon Ball history, retcons and things that just don't quite make sense, so if I hit something worth explaining, I will do. But in this video, I'm looking at everything we have material-wise, and there won't be any big or important spoilers for anything in Universe 6 arc. I just want to say that now before you panic. So, before we start, I want to mention some things just before we get going. And that is that Goku didn't actually grow up until age 756. Well, that's the first time we see him grown up. It's possible that he grew up anywhere between 753 and 756. When he beat Piccolo Daimao, it was in age 753, and at the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, he was in age 756. And he was training with Popo and Kami in the 3 years between that. Goku is supposedly 19 when he fights Piccolo Jr. according to the ages, as he was born in age 737. And we know that at the end of Z, Goten was practically grown up. He is supposedly 17 at the end of Z. So going by this, it's very possible that Goku grew up in age 754 whilst he was with Popo and Kami. Goku showed very little signs of any actual bodily changes until then, and I just wanted to put that out there before we actually started this, because of a lot of the feedback Trunks and Goten have had in Super so far, it is worth noting that Goku had a very similar sort of treatment. But I'm going to go into an in-depth look at it now, and so I hope you all enjoy. So Trunks was born in age 766, and Goten is born in age 767, or close enough to then. We don't obviously have an exact confirmation, but you can kind of see. When we get to the Buu Arc tournament that's interrupted by Babidi and his henchmen, it's in age 774. So at this point Trunks would be 8 and Goten would be 7. Buu is also defeated in this age. We now skip forward allegedly 6 months and some time after the Buu fight, in Dragon Ball Super's first couple of episodes. Due to the fact we don't actually have a month to reference for the fight with Buu, I'd say it's fair to round it up to the next age. Dragon Ball Super in the first few episodes before a time skip starts at age 775, again this is referencing the 6 month and some time skip. Mr. Satan delivers the money to Goku for the Kid Buu fight, and that's how we know it's kind of still fresh in everybody's minds. And at this point Trunks is 9 and Goten is 8. If we now jump forward to Yosong Goku, they're special if we're including it in this timeline because it's kind of canon due to the fact if you're looking at the Battle of Gods movie, they do actually mention Tarball, so they have had some interaction with him, so let's include it into this. So that would happen allegedly in 776, which would make Trunks 10 and Goten 9 at this point. Now, if we jump straight forward to the Battle of Gods arc, this happens around 4 years after the Buu fight, which sticks us in around age 778. That would make Trunks now 12 and Goten 11. At this point of the series, Gohan had already grown up quite a lot, but I'm comparing Goten to the likes of Goku more so just because in the many ways he actually resembles Goku a lot more than Gohan actually did. Age 778 for the Battle of Gods arc actually has something worth mentioning. In the Daizen shoes, it's worth noting that allegedly Bra was actually born in age 778, but clearly, as we've kind of moved past that now, that didn't happen in the show. As for the GT Perfect files, it actually states that Bra was born in age 780. We'll get a bit more into that later. So if we go now into the Resurrection F arc, we're looking at age 779. Pan is now born, Trunks is now 13, and Goten is now 12. They're still not showing it. Realistically, they should be, but Goku was 16, roughly at the age of the time when he killed Piccolo Daimao. He was still being perceived as a boy at this time. So it is definitely something that they could expand upon in the future. Now, if we go back into age 780, somewhere between the Resurrection F arc, age 779, and this year, which would be 780, the Universe 6 arc happens. Age 780, Bra is allegedly born. We'll see how that actually gets played out, and if Dragon Ball Super even bother to bring her into this. So past that, as seen so far in the Toyotaro manga, Goten and Trunks are in the crowd, but still not aging. Trunks is now 14 and Goten is now 13. Now here is the annoying bit. If you pay attention to the History of Trunks special, Trunks is age 14 when he's being presented as a young teenager when he witnesses what happens to Gohan. Not quite as small as Goten and Trunks are, but not quite as big as future Trunks. Perhaps this is hopeful thinking. This is very wishful thinking. Perhaps Trunks will get a growth spurt during this year in the Universe 6 arc, but to be honest, it is looking unlikely. Just looking at everything they've done so far, I wouldn't be surprised if that gets left out. Now, if we jump forward to the last bit of evidence we have, we're looking at the end of Dragon Ball Z. At the end of Dragon Ball Z, we're in age 784. It's worth noting that Dragon Ball Super could still do something between the 4 years of Universe 6 and the end of Z. However, Trunks is 18 at the end, looking like future Trunks. Goten is now 17, looking a bit like a teenage stoner. So in conclusion, if we're to assume that Goten is following his dad's growth pattern, it's perfectly feasible that he could actually just suddenly evolve, greatly putting the likes of Machop or Machoke to shame. So although it seems naturally and physically unlikely, this is still an animation and isn't realistically as serious as we take it. But he'd at least be following some sort of agenda, albeit totally different to Gohan's. I would like to use headcanon and say, well, yeah, but Gohan might be using, I don't know, maybe Chi-Chi's growth pattern, but Chi-Chi had a very similar growth pattern to Goku, so for all of you out there saying Saiyans grow up slower and stuff than humans, that's a load of rubbish, because Goku kind of aged around the same kind of way that Krillin did as well in Dragon Ball, and Chi-Chi. So the two of them together, they're both humans, Goku is not. You can't retcon that as being a Saiyan growth pattern. It doesn't really work like that. So for all of you thinking that can't really be the case if you're taking everything into account there. Trunks, on the other hand, unless he has a growth spurt pronto within the next 6 months or so, will completely ruin his appearance in the History of Trunks special, which I wouldn't put past the writers currently, because they've shit on a lot of the stuff so far. So pretty much to wrap things up, truth be told, the fact they haven't grown up doesn't really annoy me so much as the fact that they've been lazy. They've not massively utilised the two characters over the show's duration so far, bar the first couple of episodes, and maybe a little bit in the Battle of Gods arc. And that one terrible scene in the Resurrection F arc, but we won't talk about that. But since then, they may as well have just evolved their appearances and let us get used to the adolescent versions and market them. I think a lot of us have wanted to see them grow up, and not only that, but it'd be a way of introducing like almost 2 new characters to the series without introducing 2 new characters to the series. It's a lost marketing opportunity. I know a lot of people like Goten and Trunks, but they've kind of done as much as they can do. And everyone likes Gotenks, but again, there's only so much you can do with that. I think many more people would actually be interested in seeing a slightly more adolescent version of Gotenks as well. So again, there's more marketing stuff they're missing out on the opportunity for here. But there you have it, guys. At the moment, Trunks and Goten are currently about 13-14 years old. They have a little time left to have a growth spurts before it gets even more ridiculous, but generally speaking, aside from Gohan, they've all had the standard child until one certain episode treatment. Dragon Ball just likes doing that. So I hope that's been of interest for you guys, and that you've either got a little more patience with the characters, or possibly a little less. But I hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to start training on World King Kanji's planet. I'll catch you all in the next video. Bye!